If your base is under heavy rain, is it possible to defend it? Or perhaps, is it possible to recapture it? And then, is it possible to kill all the enemy at the same time? Well, I'll show you what is and what is not. Okay, so very briefly of what actually happened here. Now, on the chat box, I've noticed someone says that the base is about to be attacked. So when I went to that map, I've noticed basically a red field with a blue dot in the middle. Okay, and unfortunately, in a situation like that, it is quite inevitable for the base like that to be lost. Now, on that particular map, I didn't have any bases, any troops, so all I could do was watch. Okay? Now, our leader had some troops, and I've noticed that some of our guys has troops in a sort of northeast side of the map. Now this battle was happening more on the west side of the map, so to bring the troops from such far away, it wouldn't be worth it. Besides, at that point, I don't think the guy who had most of the troops was actually online, so we could only rely on our leader. So I've been just sitting and watching it, and I was 100% sure that this is lost. I mean, the guy who's being attacked is not online. At that point, we only had a few of us which were online, and bear in mind, I couldn't do anything. The Franco, which is our leader, he had some troops. I think there was a few others, but not many. So I didn't even really pay attention for any form of defense, because the enemy troops, there were just too many to hold off. However, what is always surprising in this game, that you don't really need much to actually stop the enemy, and this is the great thing about this game. And sometimes, and I've noticed that with some enemy, despite they've got loads of them, when you attacked with a bunch of troops, you can actually scare them. They are confused. They are confused because, with such a huge army like they've got, if someone dare to attack them, people are like, is he for real? Or maybe he's coming with more troops, and they sort of freeze. It's like a rabbit in the middle of the field. When it's dark and you flash your flashlights, he just stares at you, waiting for you to shoot him, right? And this is exactly the situation we've got in here. However, that doesn't take long for them to realize that the troops they saw is actually everything what the defense could send, and therefore they will carry on. But yeah, that's what it is. This is what we are watching. And in the meantime, as you probably noticed by now, you will not have my face at the moment. However, you will see my new little toy. So I've got my tiger from Panzer Rush, and I've got now a leopard from Combat Sage, and also I've got KV1 from World of Tanks. And once I assemble them all together. I'm gonna make a little video um, how those three tanks fighting with each other. They are shooting BB. I mean, they've got a BB guns on them, so I hope that will be quite enjoyable. Three different games fighting against each other. We'll see. Anyway, going back to the game. Now, Donald is one of our best players. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't online. Now, he has quite a few bases on that map. So, I mean, certainly, with the amount of flags he had and the flags, the enemy wouldn't be really able to take that base. I can tell you that. They wouldn't be able to do that. Unfortunately, he was offline, and as I mentioned, not many of us were able to do anything. However, what I've noticed, and I didn't realize when I was watching this, I didn't really realize that Franco and a few other guys actually bringing troops over to defend it. Now, even at the moment I spot them that they are actually coming, I was kind of like, okay, let's bite them a little bit, but surely we won't be able to do much. However, the outcome was very, very surprising. And when I say surprising, I mean it got me really thinking, is there anything I am able to do? So I was gonna bring a plane or something. I didn't really know what would be the best way. Now, no matter what plane I will bring, I mean they've got too many planes, too many anti-air units. So the plane I could have bring relatively quickly, but it would probably die relatively quickly. So I wasn't quite sure how I can contribute into that defense. Now, then I realized when I saw these guys actually getting somewhere, I mean you can see that the planes are sort of dropping like a flies, to be honest. Franco got quite a good units. Now I'm still not much experience in combat siege, so it's hard for me to tell you what sort of units he's using, but clearly whatever he's got is working very well. Okay, so at that point, when I looked at the situation, I thought that probably the best way for me to contribute into this situation would be to bring an APC, because that is probably the only thing I can do at the moment, and probably the quickest, especially that in this game you have these quick APCs and quite strong as well. Now you can see they are sending troops which are very weak, right? There is no leopard tanks. There is no a stronger armor units. So that looks very, very promising, to be honest. Okay, and as you can see, now we gather around the base. Now unfortunately the base was lost, but we gather around the base, and it seems like this is the situation where we've got this rabbit, right? They just looking at the situation, saying what the heck is going on, and they thinking, right? They probably the chat was very hot at that point, but yes, we were clearly taking over the lead in this area. At least that was what we thought is happening. Okay, so I've made my APC and I was speeding very, very fast to take the base, okay? And now at this point is a proper adrenaline rush. It's like a proper adrenaline rush. Because the moment I get to the base, we all know what's going to happen, right? The enemy will send something to attract the flux starts shooting, and then they will go down very quickly. So what is very important in such a situation is that you have to put the flags, upgrade the flags to the maximum, build the power station to allow you to upgrade the flags, and then build as many flags as possible. And everything what I said, you have to do as quickly as you're turning off your computer while watching adult content and someone walking into your room. That's how fast you must be. Okay, so now I get in, and with shaking hands, I put the flags and I start upgrading the flags, okay? Now, the problem is that I ran out of the energy, so I had to make a power station, okay? Now, the other problem what I've realized, that as I've never been on that map, I have no resources. So, not only I need to put a flags, but I need to transfer the resources, so I can then build a flags very quickly. Now, all of this to do within a few seconds is obviously impossible. So the enemy, if the enemy knows the game, they know that they need to do everything to keep the flags shooting. And this is, if you're on the other side, if you're the attacking party, then this is what you have to have. This is what you have to know. You have to keep the flags firing no matter what, because the moment the flags stop firing, the moment in this video, the moment I've put the power station and I've loaded up 10 million of concrete, steel and aluminium, I would have made even the full row of the flags if they wouldn't attack me. And obviously at that point it would be almost impossible to win, because then we can keep sending other troops even from the other maps, because having one base here, that will give me about 6 or 7 groups already. I can upgrade the military points, and obviously that would be a win. That would be a win. Now, unfortunately, our team went down. I believe Franco didn't have any more troops. Now they sent a bunch of leopards, and obviously we know the leopards are very heavy tanks. It's very difficult to destroy them. So unfortunately, there was not much I could do. I mean, potentially I could send some troops, but with just 2 flags at the base, it wouldn't be enough time for me to defend that. So yes, so unfortunately this time I couldn't manage to hold that base, and so my fellow friends, teammates, also they didn't have enough troops to actually withhold that. So yeah, this is it. This is how you should take the base with a large army. This is how you also should defend it at all costs, but obviously at the same time you have to be reasonable. If you have no troops, there is unfortunately nothing you can do. Now I hope this video was interesting a little bit at least. And the next videos I will just carry on fixing my tank until it's all done, and then we'll make a video with a battle. So once again, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.